Right, in this lesson we're going to look at another enemy within Kiwi Kai, and this is the owl enemy. This enemy is used in later levels of the game because it is a difficult enemy to overcome. And on this one, the owl actually follows the kiwi around. It moves slowly, so it's possible for the kiwi to get away from it, but it makes playing the level more difficult because if the owl collides with the kiwi is killed. So the owl can be a child object of the trap. So the first thing we have to do is create two new sprites, and on this one it is important that you look at the point of origin on the sprites. So if we have a sprite for the owl, and this is just the owl sitting. So sprite owl sitting. On this, we want to make the point of origin 1610. Now if you notice, the point of origin is right in the center of the owl's face. We have another one where the owl is going to be flying, and we also will have the center point of origin right on its face. And that way the motion when it moves will look more seamless. So we'll click OK to that. And then we're also going to have sprite owl flying. And on this one, we'll load that image. So sprite owl flying, and its point of origin is going to be 4721. And if you notice again, that puts the point of origin right in the center of the owl's face. And you'll see that in play later when we use the when we set the sprite changing for the object owl. So we now have an object, and this is going to be object owl. We'll start with it being the owl sitting. And we can make this, the parent, be the trap. And again, that's because just like the dog, when it, and the other ones, when the kiwi collides with it, it dies or loses a life. So that's why we can use that as the parent object. Okay. We also need to make a new sound. And this is going to be our sound of our owl. And then once we have all of our resources created, the next thing we have to do is add our events and actions to our owl. So we'll go into our owl object, and we need to create two alarms. So we'll have a create event, and to that create event we're going to have an alarm action. So what we want to do for this alarm action is we're going to set alarm 0 to 120 steps, which is equivalent to about 4 seconds. And then we add an alarm 0, and what we'll have it do is change into flying sprite. When that goes off. So create, it's just sitting. When the alarm goes off, it goes into the flying owl, and the flying owl then will move towards the kiwi. So it'll be basically following it. So the next thing we want to do is have a move toward action. And this is going to move again towards the kiwi. So we're going to have its X go towards the object kiwi dot X, and its Y is the object kiwi dot Y. Now what this will do is it basically has it go towards the kiwi's X and Y. And so it's important that these things match up. So make sure that you've named yours object obj underscore kiwi. The speed in here is 0.5. And we don't want it to have it moving so fast that the kiwi can't escape. Then to that same alarm event, we're going to set an alarm. And we're going to set the same alarm, 0 to 10. Can't type. We're going to set that to 10. And this means that every 10 steps, the owl will change its direction to follow the object kiwi. So alarm 0 should have, pull this out so you can see it, it's going to change into the owl flying, move towards the object kiwis, X and Y, and then reset the alarm to 10. And then back in the create event, we have the setting alarm 1 to 120 steps. So we're going to add another one. So that was all alarm 0. Now we're going to set an alarm 1, so it has a different one. And in this one, we're going to have it play the sound. So we're going to have an alarm 1. And what do we want alarm 1 to do? We want it to play the owl sound. And then we have another set alarm action, setting alarm 1 to 600 steps. Alarm 1. And so it should look like this. Play the sound owl, then set the alarm 1 to 600 steps. So basically what we're doing in our create event, we're setting our alarms. Then in our alarms, we're basically have a reset. So this acts as a sort of a timer loop so that the alarm goes off over and over. The same thing with alarm 1. We're going to set it to 600 steps, and then after another 600 steps, then it'll play the sound, then reset the alarm. To test this out, we need to go to our room and add an instance of the owl. We can have it sitting somewhere. And then we'll save that and test that and see if it works. Okay, so you can play your game and get away from all your enemies. And if you notice, the owl moves towards the kiwi, and the kiwi has to avoid it. So it's following the kiwi as it's trying to avoid the other enemies. That seems to be working. And so that's the end of the owl enemy. What you should now do is create different levels and have it just become increasingly more difficult, so that at each level you have more enemies, more platforms, more worms to have to get through, and try to add about 3 levels.